Perfect. So thank you for joining. As I said, my name is John. I am part of Antea Africa, a company based in Nairobi. And today I will take you through our approach in terms of what transparency is and how we can utilize it to benefit the agribusinesses and to develop agribusiness across Africa. So we are a company with over 15 years of experience in the field. We work a lot for the World Bank. We work a lot for IFC and GIZ, mostly working in East Africa, but now looking also into Central and Western Africa. Our mission is to empower the agribusinesses and to really achieve the improvement in the market position they have, both on the local, regional, and international markets, in order to improve their business performance as well as the impacts that they have on the smallholder farmers they work with and on the community around them. So today there are four key topics that I want to take you through. The first one being transparency in general, what it is and why is it important. Second, how do we achieve transparency? Third, what are sort of the opportunities for agribusinesses that are able to implement transparency within their practices? And lastly, I will also demonstrate an example of a digital transparency solution, just so that you can get the idea on how to actually achieve it in practice and what does it look like. Okay, so first of all, what is it and why is it important? Currently, it is one of the top trends from last year in terms of market access, and it has been a transformation, where it's not only about quality and price for the products that we engage, but it comes also into the transparency about the ethics of the business, the environmental aspect in terms of sustainability. So how is the product farmed, how is it produced, and the health aspect of the product for the consumers. And all of these are sort of the new elements that are ranking the companies according to their competitive advantages that they have once they enter the market. But what is it in more rough terms, in more overall terms? It's really a new business values that are being developed in the market. So really the values of trust, that I'm able to showcase, that I'm willing to trust the companies that are able to showcase to me how they do their business, not hide it, that it's of the trend of sustainability and of long-term vision and long-term objective of the business being beyond just maybe a year or so, but that we really have an outlook. So what will my business be look like in 5, 10 years time? And what does transparency require? It requires companies to, first of all, know exactly what is happening in their supply chains, how everything is done in their supply chains, and later to also communicate this information both externally, so to the market, to the relevant stakeholders, as well as internally among their team, among their employees, to know what the business looks like, how it is performing, and what impact it has. So where is this chain of pressure for transparency coming from? So there are two main, let's say, groups of two main groups that are really pushing forward the demands, and one of them is the consumers and the market. So the market has a preference for products where they know where they are coming from, where they know how they were produced and so on. And secondly is in terms of regulations. So we have regulations that are coming into place, both, let's say, on the international level, about supply chain due diligence, that companies will have to know exactly where their products are coming from, also in terms of their suppliers and the suppliers of those suppliers, as well as regulation in terms of food safety and so on. And these all pressures are being forced to the buyers of agribusinesses, so to your buyers. And these buyers, in order to comply with them, they have to force it onto you. So they will be forcing it onto you, all the demands that are accumulated from the two groups that I have described. And this is a very big pressure that has potential to make or break a business in this environment. So what are some of the, let's say, the risks of companies that are not transparent? So in the most extreme cases, it really can come to market loss. So we've seen examples, for example, from Kenya, where the producers of avocados were simply dropped from the from the supermarkets, were dropped by their buyers simply because they were not able to showcase transparently how they deal with food safety, how they deal with the human rights, how they deal with the sustainability aspect of the products. And because they were not able to showcase it, because they didn't know it, maybe even, they were immediately lost a big market that they had already and lowered their business performance. But on the other hand, what is the real benefit to transparency? So, first of all, it's that because the market has such a big preference for it, there is the opportunity to actually charge higher prices in the market for promoting and making products available that are transparent. So some studies have already shown that especially in high value export markets, people are willing and able to pay up to 10% higher prices for the same product, simply if the companies are able to showcase how they were produced, where they are coming from, and to transparently communicate all the details that the market requires. So that is already a huge opportunity where you can, using the same product, the same production practices, the same everything, earn 10% higher prices for the products you sell, simply by including more transparency to the your offering. Second, as what touching upon the slide that I had previously, is really about this reputation management. So the companies, simply because they didn't have the transparency, the Kenyan avocado producers, they uh, their reputation, their status in the market was extremely damaged by the fact that they didn't have it and that they lost market accordingly. So other buyers start to ask each other, so what went wrong? What do they know that I don't? Is it is it too risky to continue buying from this source? And in the end, the benefit is to really meet the market demand and to meet what they want to see. So transparency is not just, this is sort of the key outcome, that I want to reach at this point, is that it's not just another, let's say, compliance requirement, like for example, a certification or an audit that you have to do, or a specific type of um, objective within each value chain that you just need to do. It's really the benchmark in business across the different value chains. No matter if you are in cocoa, or if you are in fruits and vegetables, or if you are in mangoes, or if you are in rice, does not matter. This is coming to the point where transparency is the new benchmark in how business is being done and what the market prefers. So I would like to invite you, to, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer on the topic of more general transparency before moving forward, to actually see what are the benefits and how do you achieve it. So yeah, just unmute yourself, and whatever questions you have, I'm here to answer. Okay, so if there is no other question, I would suggest that we move forward, and there will be more opportunities later on to ask any questions that you might come up in the meantime. Okay, so achieving transparency. Now I want to go more into the action aspect. So okay, now we know what it is, now what we have to do to achieve it. So we have devised a 5-step sort of roadmap for what companies can do in order to achieve transparency. First of all, it's very important to know where you are, to know what is your current position. So to conduct sort of a stress test to see where you are at the moment, how much you know about your supply chain, how much are you already communicating, and where is the gap between that, the current state, and the optimal, and sort of the goal that you need to have. And once you have this, it's really important for companies to set goals in terms of what they want to achieve, because this is a process. This is not something that you can do within an hour or so. It's a process, and it's important that the company approaches it as such. So once you have the goals, it's really important to go and visualize the supply chain, then to collect the right information about the supply chain and to document it, to address the issues that you have identified, and to then share this information. So, okay. So in terms of the assessment of your current transparency, we have created this simple but effective transparency stress test. I will share the link to this in an email after. You can always refer to it. You can take the test. It takes about 5 minutes, even less, to complete, and it will give you the first rough idea in terms of where your company stands. So it covers the all key, let's say, information, transparency information chapters, from the farms to the production processes, to the packaging, to the ethicality of the business, and so on. And it's a multiple choice questionnaire you can fulfill. And if you will have if you will identify your score through it, then you can share it with me, and you can reply to my email, and I will simply be able to follow up and give you some quick feedback in terms of what are some of the next steps that you can do on your journey to become more transparent. So the second step, is to really visualize the supply chain. So this means everything from the farmers that you work with. So either if you have your own farmland and you employ farmers, so what is happening, how is the farming process being done, or if you have like an outgrower network where the smallholder farmers manage their own farms. So how do they manage it? How do you support them? Then about the infrastructure around it. So maybe you have some aggregation centers, maybe you have collectors, maybe you have processing facilities. So how is that part of the business being done? Because all of this includes information that the buyers are looking for in terms of quality, in terms of impact, in terms of food safety, and so on. And then it's important that you also visualize who are the key, let's say, stakeholders that would be interested in such information. So is it buyers? Is it maybe some regulators? Is it maybe some organization that can support you to access the markets? And then in the end, who is the final consumer or the final market for your product? And all of this, once you have a good understanding, will give you the right information, will give you the right understanding to actually make a proper decision on how to best implement your transparency and how to best become the company that the market wants you to be. Okay, so the third step is to really then go into each of the elements that you have visualized and to collect the right information and to document it. So here it is very important, that not only do you know it in your head, but that you can write it down, that you have it documented, that you have all of this information ready for sharing. So once you have this information from all the elements in the supply chain, you will also be able to identify opportunities for improvement. So you will find maybe some issues that you need to resolve, and maybe you will find some strong points. But it's really important that the issues that you identify are not hidden, but that they are revealed and that you can take action in order to fix them. When it comes to transparency, also to the buyers, a lot of times companies will be afraid maybe to communicate if they have any sort of identified potential issues or some small problems in the business. But it's important that you not only hide it, but that you openly communicate, okay, these are some of the things that we are working on, and here is our plan on how we will reach it. This really makes sure that you build a lot of trust around your company, because you tell them, look, I know the problems that we face, but I know also how we will solve it. And this is the end objective, if for the serious buyer or the serious market participant who you want to engage, this means a lot. And the last step is then to really communicate the information. So now that you have gathered all the information, it's time for you to showcase it to the world. So both, as I said in beginning, internally and externally. So within your company, so that the right people in the company understand your business, that they understand all the steps, all the issues that you might have, and that they understand all the impacts and so on. And it's important also for the external world to know this. So, what are the opportunities for transparent agribusinesses? So, first of all, what I said is that trustworthiness. So, as soon as you become more transparent in terms of how you do your business, how you do the production, and so on, you're able to build additional trust in the market. And this is something where new trade relationships or brand loyalty can be developed, because this trust will provide additional incentive for the buyers to work with you, to support your organization, to support your company, and to enjoy your product in the end. It also provides you the opportunity, to take the leadership role, not to be just another element in the supply chain, but it allows you to take the role of saying, okay, this is who we are, these are the things that we are working on improving, this is how we do our business, and let's look at the opportunities for collaboration rather than being under pressure and under influence of external of other actors in the value chain. Really take the power in your hands. And it also, when you identify when you do the exercise of documenting and exploring your supply chain, you find opportunities for improvement. And when you find opportunities for improvement, your business can improve. If you don't know the areas that you can improve, nothing will change in the future and your business will not progress. So overall, what we have observed with the companies that we work with in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia is that really, in the end of the process of becoming more transparent, companies were able to increase the revenues that they were generating. They were able to create money that enabled investment into both improvement and growth of their business. And this is in the end what we are striving for. So now again, I invite you all, if you have any questions in terms of achieving transparency, maybe Daniel, Richard, if you have any question for me that I can maybe clear things out.
Okay. Hi, John.
Yes.
Yeah, to draw your attention, I call those who sign in,
Mm-hmm.
and they are saying they have difficulty signing in with their laptops. I tried, and the same thing is happening to me. Even though I try with my phone, it sends me to tickets. I open tickets. I cannot open to the online program.
Uh,
So I want to draw your attention.
can you, is it possible that you tell them to use the link that I sent in the email?
Okay.
I shared the link in the email in the morning.
Okay. So when I open my link, it may it sends me to your page and asks me to log in, like what you sent me.
Okay. So
Mm, so
Let me share the link here in the chat that you can share with others.
Okay.
I would like to kindly Rita. No? Okay. So, is there any question at this point, or should we um, should we proceed?
Okay. So, hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So, John, in terms of benefits, in Ghana, the European Union put ban on our exportation of vegetables.
Yes.
How is transparency going to help us to solve this problem in part?
So the let's say the ban that occurred, it is probably stemming from some sort of problems that occurred with some products. So maybe there were some there was like non-compliance with the standards that the products had when they entered the European market. And this all leads to lowering of trust and reputational damages. And if we are able to present to whoever is, let's say, in the regulating the market, or whoever is having some sort of say in what comes in and what doesn't, that, okay, look, we know that there are companies that maybe have some difficulties, but here are us as, let's say, companies that are doing production, that are doing good business. Here is how we are dealing with it. So to really build back the trust by offering insight and offering information about the exact practices that you have that are good for the environment, that are good on food safety, that are good business practices, and to really build back the trust in order to gain access to the markets again.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
So
apart from that, um, hello.
yeah, go ahead, please.
So what is the relationship between um, transparency and food safety? Like, is it directly related or
So
inversely? Yeah.
yeah. So here I would say that, the as with any other element, in this sort of transparency topic, food safety is one of those things where you need to first know how you are dealing with it, and then you need to communicate it. And I wouldn't limit transparency only to food safety or to any other category like this. I would like to highlight the fact that transparency is more of an approach and more of a, let's say, a method for you to approach the communication around your business. So it's more about saying, okay, what am I doing on food safety? What practices do I have? Documenting those practices and communicating those practices. So these are the three, let's say, the three steps I would highlight for any topic. Is it food safety? Is it traceability? Is it ethicality, sustainability? Whatever topic there is always these three elements. There is the first, get to know, to document, and to communicate. And here is where this is the relationship then between the food safety and transparency.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Richard, I see that you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Hello, John.
Yes.
From the explanation you've given, I'm tempted to think that transparency is more or less like a standard.
Yes.
Though in your submissions you categorically stated it isn't a standard, but I see it as in future becoming a standard because in Africa implementing transparency models, we all know how Africans actually do our businesses. Issues of transparency is a big challenge. So if you are implementing a transparency model and it doesn't come as a standard or a means of compliance where organizations will be could be critiqued or judged. I'm thinking of how its transparency will be implemented if it doesn't become something like a standard. I'm sure you are getting my argument. Hello, John.
I understand the question. Perfect.
So the distinction I want to make is transparency isn't a standard. Is that yes or no?
So I would say that there is no, for example, with the, let's say, organic, okay, you can have the certification. There are official instruments that categorize it. With transparency, that is not the case. So transparency is, let's say, a voluntary standard, but it is becoming very important in the market. So that's why I said that it's not like a certification or something that you have to get, like an export license or something like that. It's more of a business practice that is becoming a standard, that is becoming sort of a voluntary standard that companies will have to implement. And the difficulty here, of course, is that a lot of companies are only looking at the legal requirements. So what do they legally have to do, or like what are some of the regulatory standards they need to achieve, official standards they need to achieve. And this transparency is still a bit in between. It's not a official standard, but it's like sort of the unspoken, unwritten rule that is developing. So yeah, I understand the challenge here. And for us, the most important is to really raise awareness about it and to make sure that companies understand the importance of it, because they will not hear it from somebody who will give them an overview of all the mandatory requirements they have to achieve.
Okay. Well, I understand. And then secondly, for instance, if a company wants to implement, do a transparency test,
Yes.
um, what is the approach that the company has to, is it internal or staff that should have to do it, or it has to consult, the organization for that assessment to be done?
No, so the transparency test that I will share with you afterwards, it's a self-assessment. So you are able to fulfill it by yourself and you don't need anyone else to consult. However,
Okay.
if you will identify, the score that you will get in the end, then you can reach out to me, and I will give you some feedback on it right away. So there is no need for any external organization to do the assessment.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. Thank you.
Definitely.
Hello, John.
Yes.
So, in Ghana, this thing is a very serious issue for us because many people are eating chemicals. Like somebody can spray the vegetables and harvest the next day instead of 2 weeks. So I'm asking, if it is self-assessment, if I lie, how can the Fita app detect that I'm lying? And how can the consumer know?
Okay. So there is that we believe, that when you become transparent, when you put out some sort of truth, it's you set the standard to which you then have to abide. and the market forces and the market, if it identifies, that what you are saying is not correct, you will immediately lose all the credibility. So the market itself will identify, what is the a good, actually a good company, a good product to buy, and what is not a great one. It is impossible to verify in a cost efficient way every single company. So why not let the market do the job instead of us? Why not make transparency affordable to everyone and let the market come out with a conclusion who is, let's say, a liar, who is not posting the right information and losing all the credibility they have in the market, and who is actually a trustworthy producer in the end. Yeah, Richard, go ahead.
It is the market that will determine.
So,
It is the
mhm.
market that will determine.
And then
Yes.
yes, then I want to ask a follow-on question. If it is the market that is, determining, so well, how is your organization, John?
Yes.
How is the organization positioned, or the linkage of your organization with other actors
Okay.
in as you said that organization is more or less voluntary, and then people can do self-assessment. Um, in fact, if um, well, I want to know how strong your relationship with other organizations or other actors in the supply chains are. Because once it is the market that has to do the final judgment, the final job, if transparency, organizations are not having, our organization like yours is not having very strong links or collaborations with other actors in the sector, then I'm afraid transparency it will be very difficult to achieve anything transparency in a way. For Africa, our marketing systems are.
Okay. So, for example, in regions where we work the most, we are then closely connected to the, let's say, in Kenya, it's KEBS, so the Kenyan Authority for Standards, or in Uganda, it's UNBS. So we collaborate with them to verify, that the companies that we work with comply with the national food safety standards, or that they comply with all of these mandatory requirements. So these are the main connections that we do.
Okay.
As
All
part,
right. Thank
as part of this transparency is also, communication of the standards that you achieve. So if you achieve the local quality standard, like the Q mark, for example, in Uganda, or I don't know exactly what it is in Ghana, but I believe that there is for sure some, let's say, the national quality standards.
Yeah.
So we would collaborate with organizations like this to verify the claims of the companies on what they are providing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So if there is, okay, yeah, Daniel, go ahead.
Okay, so John, so if you find out that maybe what one organization said about their transparency was a lie, what will happen to them?
So we will work with them to identify to identify the information that is truthful. So we will either work with them on this, or if we identify and the company is still claiming the not the truth, we will simply stop providing our service to them, because we really believe that we need to support the companies that are doing good, the companies that deserve to have success in the market, So we will simply not work with the companies that are not going along our principles and the values that we believe in. And,
Okay.
support
Yeah.
others who will then, in turn gain the competitive advantage to the transparency that they offer. So it is a purely market force in terms of who we work with and who.
Okay. So the other question is, in Ghana, some local farmers complain of the market, especially the processors who buy from them.
Mhm.
They said that those who are Global Gas certified and those who are not, when it is during the season of the mango, they buy, the processors buy any of them. So when you spend money to go through the Global Gas certification, it's like they don't pay premium. In that case, what will you advise?
So here is where, the here is where we have the big difference for this, where global gap and others, global gap is just the entry ticket to enter some markets, but for the companies that have the global gap, for them it's important that they differentiate themselves also in the market. And as I said, by providing more information, providing transparency, they're able to earn higher prices in the market. And if they earn higher prices in the market, only then are they able to pay more money to the farmers that they work with, as opposed to before, where they are maybe making the same money with the global gap than without it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so in the interest of time, I would suggest that we move forward. I would like to now show you, how these digital transparency solutions work, and then we will have time for another short Q&A in the end.
Okay.
Okay, so Fita App is a digital solution that we are promoting in East Africa that has so far helped a number of companies, and that we would like to explore the opportunity of how it can also do the same for the organizations in Ghana with Daniel. So what is it? It's a tool, to empower the agribusinesses to share the product story and to really prepare the right information so that they can improve their market position. How does it work? First of all, it guides companies to prepare the right set of information. So information about the geographical origins, so on the farm level, information about the certificates that they have and the standards that they buy, about the production processes, so from the farming process to the storage to the processing, as well as then, on the social responsibility and environmental sustainability. This way, we are able to sort of support you in the preparation of the information that the market cares about the most. The second thing is that it really helps then to organize this information and make it into this sort of professional looking page, or how we call it, product profile, that you can then share with both the, let's say, the market and with the in any other stakeholders. So it prepares the right information first, then it organizes it to make a really professional impression. And lastly, it allows you, to share the information through different channels. So it can be through your social media, it can be through your web page, it can be through QR codes that you put on your product packaging or that you put on the marketing material, and so on. And to really make sure that you can achieve a wide audience with it. And lastly, it just, to showcase to you like the effects that it can have. This is like an example of a company that we work with from Kenya, and they really took transparency as one of their core strategies, when they approach the market. And since they started doing so, they were able to really expand their markets, to grow to other regions. They were able to open new doors with both like distributors and manufacturers, with retailers. And because they were able to tell the story, they were able to go both to Europe, Middle East, USA, everywhere. And it's really a good example of how you can build the trust with the market and how you can stand out from the competition simply by improving the transparency that you offer. So yeah, as I said, if you have any other questions, I'm here to help you with them and to answer any doubts maybe that you have so far. I will also, yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, so the app, if you want to install the app, assuming one wants to install, how much does it take to install?
Okay, so what I suggest is that with the in terms of time, it really depends on how much you have ready. So with the stress test that I will share, you will reach the sort of the understanding of how far you still are in terms of finding the right information and so on. It takes then it usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks in terms of implementation, so that you can really prepare the right product story, that you can include all the information, and to really make sure that you have the proper transparent product profile. Yeah.
Okay.
I will also share with you in the follow-up email, I will share with you the link to the website where you can learn more about it. And if you're interested, we are able to then do one-on-one meeting, just so that you get a better understanding of how it works, how it can work within the scope of your company, and what kind of benefits it can bring to you. So yeah, we are open to have then individual meetings with anyone who is interested. Okay. Any other question at this point?
Hello, John.
Yes, go ahead, Richard.
In case any organization is interested in doing the transparency test, or working with you, what are the rules your organization is going to play? What are the responsibilities of your organization?
So in terms of the rules for us, it's really that they share the real interest in it, and that we have, like, let's say, common values, in terms of what they're trying to achieve. So that is one of them. And then the second one is that that they are motivated to engage in the exercise, and to really use it as sort of a strategic decision for them. Because if you only approach it as sort of another, let's say, small requirement you need to fulfill, then like it will not result to the big results that you're looking for. So it really, the company needs to be devoted and motivated to onboard, and that is when we can really do the most together.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions so far? Otherwise, you can also reach me out via the email that I will send with any future questions that you might have. Okay. So then we are 1 minute to 12, so exactly the right 1 hour time. And I would like to thank you for all the attention. I would like to thank all the participants for joining. And I'm looking forward to getting in touch with you after this webinar. And yeah, special thanks also to Daniel, who helped to organize this. to bring together the right people in Ghana.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So thank you and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.